getting my motivation right, thinking about what we're about to do. Ladies and gentlemen, all you beautiful creatures who logged on in front of your computers, looking at tiny screens, know that we're about to open up a world that's somewhere inside our minds. And hopefully, if we pay attention, if we listen, if we connect, we can make that world mean so much more than just a screen. And already I've noticed a bunch of faces from last course. And so I'm really happy to see you all. Welcome to 3 Jewels. If you don't know where you're at, you're in a Zoom call of 3 Jewels. 3 Jewels is we call it the Enlightenment Studio. It started 25 years ago in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We teach Eastern Buddhist philosophy, the entire curriculum of a Tibetan monastic that could take 20 years. We teach it there for, in about 8-year series in English, applicable to your everyday, in the hope to realize that there's something in our minds that if we access it just right through meditation, through community work, through rethinking our actions, that then changes the filter with which we show up in the world, and that actually changes our world. And so we do a whole bunch of things, too many to mention at 3 Jewels, one of which is mini trainings, and this is one of the trainings. There's a bunch of people here doing a meditation teacher training on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now they're doing this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm just trying to imagine what your minds are doing at the moment. So thanks for joining those special people who are spending 10 weeks expanding their awareness. But 3 Jewels, it really is a special, powerful community, and it's run mostly by volunteers. It's just a place where we get to hang out and put into practice nothing made up by us, but translated from old Tibetan text or ancient Indian text, or words of the Buddha applied to India, applied to Tibet, applied throughout Asia, commentaries on how to meditate, why meditate, what is compassion, etc., etc. And you've just landed in a course, a mini training of all that 20-year curriculum, or 7 if you do it at 3 Jewels, 7 or 8 years if you do it at 3 Jewels. You've come to the essence of the essence of the essence of these Buddhist ideas that when put together, you get to see a completely different worldview, perhaps, than what we are taught to look for. Namely, that to reach a state of peace or nirvana or happiness, ultimate happiness, not just temporary happiness, there isn't anything outside of you that will ever change that and make that happen. They may contribute, but not until you have done something to your mind that you can actually experience and abide in that state of being. So I hope that through the class, this course and the classes that follow, and anything else you choose to engage with at 3 Jewels, that you get to reach that part of you. What I realized I didn't do is I said, the hell am I? I'm Hector Marcel. I'm the president of 3 Jewels, and I get the privilege to spend most of my time making sure the container for all this community stays safe and put and meaningful for the people that come in through what we do at 3 Jewels. It's also my deep, deep pleasure to introduce and welcome those of you that may not know Supriya, who's like an extraordinary creature, a powerful teacher, and has put into practice this curriculum that I talk about. So I'm very happy to co-teach with her this second in a 3-part series of the essence of Buddhist thought, this mini training. So welcome, Supriya. You want to say hi?
Yes, I'd love to. Hi, everyone. And I feel like Hector was not at all giving himself credit. I just want to share this little tidbit. There's so much to share, but for those of you who are just starting to get a taste of the magic that is 3 Jewels, it blows my mind to always remember that it was just one sentence spoken by his teacher, by Hector's teacher, of take care of the 3 Jewels in New York City. I think it was an email, right? It was just that one line. And he took that as like this like precious instruction and spun out this thing that exists now, right? Where we're able to connect in the middle of a global pandemic across the planet around these ideas, and do so in a way that is vibrant and it feels like community. I don't know, I feel like I'm sitting in the studio right now and I feel like I'm with all of you. So I really am humbled to be here, and as I said, I'm Supriya. I know many of you, so I'm excited to get to know better the ones I don't know quite yet. And yeah, are we ready to, or maybe I'll share just a little more of an intro, if that's okay. I had a really beautiful day just reflecting today on, you know, how I got to this moment. So bye Helena, it's nice to see you. I see you saying bye. I just was hoping to share that, and mainly please use everything we're sharing now as a bridge, like Hector said, to sort of ask yourself, what are you looking to get out of these next 2 hours? And can you step away from whatever the flavor of your day was so far? Maybe it had a lot of that energy of going from one thing to the next. Can you drop all that just for now and really ask yourself, what is it that's bringing you here? So I asked myself that all day today, just in reflection of being with you all tonight. And I found 3 Jewels a few years ago, and it was on a lunch break from my office. So I was not looking for this stuff. And I can very honestly say that it was less so curiosity and more so desperation that got me to actually go inside. You know, like at that time we were a 3rd floor walk up. You know, it wasn't like this snazzy ground level across from the Bowery Hotel kind of space. Like I saw the sign outside that said free lunchtime meditation, and something sort of magnetized me to climb up those stairs and enter this space. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. There's like Tibetan Buddhist iconography everywhere. The air is thick with incense. But I really had gotten to a point where I was like, I don't know what else to do. You know, I don't know if there's like a phrase for mid-20s, mid-20s life crisis, but maybe it was that, or I mean, maybe some of you have this sense too, where like you look around and you're like, okay, it seems like everyone has something figured out that maybe I just don't get yet. Like, how are they doing this thing called life? For me, that was really screaming loudly, especially because I had sort of checked all the boxes that society told me I should, right? Like that told me that those things should make me happy. I had really done most of those things and was still in this state of sort of confusion and isolation, honestly. Pre-pandemic, way pre-pandemic, and I was feeling that. So for me, walking into 3 Jewels, and not immediately, but almost immediately, just allowed my mind to recognize that low level restlessness, anxiety that was there, that story that I was telling myself, that if I can just figure out this next problem, maybe then I'll be okay. And it was just that playing itself over and over. So it was so refreshing when I walked into 3 Jewels and they were like, principal tenet of Buddhism, the truth of suffering, right? Like that's actually, for an unexamined mind, for an unexamined existence, that sort of hypnosis is just baseline. Like that's the hamster wheel that it's actually possible to get out of. But it doesn't happen unless you can have the courage to look at the source of all that, right? Like the common denominator between all those experiences I was having, which was my mind. And I really had no idea how to be friends with my mind or sit with my mind. So meditation for me is specifically our donation-based lunchtime meditations were like the door into 3 Jewels. And the teachers there started like, I think of, if anyone's worked with clay, like, you know, that feeling of it starts as this dry substance, you add water to it to make it workable. And that's sort of what it felt like. It was like this steady drip of wisdom and being able to sit with my mind. And for me, and I promise the story is coming to an end, the way I found Dharma at 3 Jewels is I just came to enough meditation classes, and then I started hearing murmurs of, hey, Hector's coming back. Hector's about to teach Dharma. And he was about to start with ACI 16, 17, and 18, actually. And that was my first ever, you know, and again, I don't know why I walked into that first class, but that was my first ever Dharma class, ACI 16, class 1, a few years ago. And it felt like suddenly that clay of my mind that was becoming moldable, like the shapes that I was being invited to sort of create through the things I was hearing in Dharma class. I mean, it was wilder than I could have imagined. You know, it was beyond just that next problem that I wanted solved. So thanks for letting me share a little bit of that. I just wanted to connect with why I'm here and why the reason has maybe changed a bit, like in wording, but the feeling behind it is still that. And so I'm really honored to be here. And I'll let you all know now, tonight is just an intro class. We're not going to get into too much content. So please relax. Know that we're going to get to know each other a bit. We really want this to feel as much like a conversation as it can, given, even given the scenario. So, yeah.
Are we going to ask them what top of mind things they brought from ACI17? Do you want to do that? Do you want me to do that?
No, I mean, it's exactly that, what Hector just said. So for those of you, maybe first, those of you who were not in ACI16 are like completely new to this training, which is completely fine. I'm just curious to know how many of those there are. Maybe you just throw a reaction or raise a hand, just so we can sort of eyeball it. Okay, I see some raised hands. Nice, well, welcome, and hopefully this next exercise will be illuminating. We were hoping those of you who were in the last course, if anyone feels particularly brave, unmute yourself or raise your hand so we can unmute yourself. And what was the biggest takeaway for you from that course? There's not a right answer. This is not that type of school. Just what's the thing that like moved your heart and you've still been thinking about 2 weeks later? So as soon as I see a hand raised, I'll unmute you. I'll try. Otherwise, I don't have a problem calling on people, so.
Oh, I like doing that. I'm interested too. Like those of you that took the course the last 5 weeks with Javier and I, what was like the big aha moment? Any big idea that you're like, oh, I'm not sure that works, or wow, that really shifted something? I just want to get a flavor of that, because then I want to connect it to what we're about to do. Anyone?
Santi raised her hand. Can you unmute yourself, Santi, or do I need to?
Hi, it's actually Rachel posing as Santi. So I've taken these classes before. I know many of you, and I just wanted to share really quickly that the more I hear this information, the more nuanced I get. And I guess my big takeaway and what I'm working with now is doing this whole meditation thing, karma and emptiness thing, but doing it with joy instead of this like kind of white knuckled attempt to change my life. Because the joy is also important. So I've been thinking about that and trying to apply it to my practice.
That's cool.
Joy.
I'm going to pick on Kay. Because I saw her from last time, and she asked a bunch of really cool questions last time.
I tried to, you DM'd me, but then I tried to write back and I couldn't because the chat was disabled. So I was like, I'm just gonna wave.
I have the power of the DMs.
Yeah, so I'm new to Dharma, so I took the last, yeah, so as Hector mentioned, I am fairly inquisitive, I ask a lot of questions, and so I took the last, I guess, portion one, last class. I think the biggest takeaway for me is like, for anyone who hasn't done it, the pen thing. So it's the nature that I give something will allow me to dictate how I feel about something. So, and the very like, which is really actually the second part, because the first part is even realizing that there is a nature that I'm applying to it. Because as soon as I realize that there is a nature I'm applying to it, I've already objectively removed myself from the situation and I can see it in a timeline. And I feel like that objectivity and realizing that that is happening and I'm giving it that nature to upset me or to disrupt my day or to like navigate the tone, set the tone for the rest of my day, I think that that was a huge takeaway for me. So that's probably the biggest thing, is just that realization.
That's really, really cool to hear, because I'm going to harp on that at the end, saying if you need a key to unlock all of Buddhist practices, doesn't matter how weird they look or how peaceful it is, without that part, which you called the pen, which is in essence this thing called karma and emptiness, and I'll cover it before we finish, understanding that your mind is somehow engaged in the reality you're experiencing, and therefore you change your mind, you change that reality. That is, gives you a little bit of a gap, which you just described, right? Gives you some gap to respond rather than react and be hooked and tumbled into consequences of your actions. Gives you choice, you know. And so I'll harp on that at the end. Soban, come on, since it's like
Annie, I saw Annie's hand raised.
eh?
Annie.
Hi.
Okay.
Oh, nothing.
Saved by the Annie. Go on. Annie? Then Soban, you're in. You're up.
I guess I'm not saved. Yeah, so I think, like Kay said, the emptiness versus nothingness, that was a very big difference that really struck in my mind. I think also how almost deterministic karma is, in the sense that how you get all your previous experiences can link to your present experience, and then that can lead on into the future, and then every single seed that you sow can change that as well. So I think I read somewhere say something like the heavens say that your path is determined, but you are also free at the same time. So just hearing that kind of opened up my mind a little bit.
That's so cool, because it's one, you know, I, as a teacher teaching karma and emptiness, karma being the seeds we plant in our minds, which is our experience of reality. And you know, I get some freebie, like I get to say karma and emptiness and people go, wow, wow. But it takes a kind of intellect and time before people go, hold on a minute, is this total deterministic? Like, what's going on here? So I get that little free time before the big heavy questions start coming. But that's one of them, right? So that's absolutely one of them. Do we have choice or we don't have choice? And that's really worth investigating. And it's trippy to consider. So I suggest thinking that we have the karma to experience choice. Yeah, like we have the deterministic impulse, like we have the seeds within us to give us the experience and perception of choice. And that's a karma that can also grow until you have like an ultimate choice. Yeah. It's pretty cool question, and it gets like, you can see how trippy it gets. Does anyone else want to share before we dive into what we want to do with you all tonight and get familiar with what we're about to cover and why and who we are, etc.?
I'd like to share.
Hi, Leah.
Hi. I mean, to me, it feels like this huge opportunity for immersion, like really this everydayness of Buddhist philosophy. And for that, I just love that twice a week. Wow. And it really is an everyday thing. So thank you for that. That's what I got from ACI17.
Good. Yeah. I mean, once you get the karma is like 65 times a finger snap, you can't remove your mind from your reality. So even dreaming is an experience and an opportunity to actually shift how you engage with your mind and therefore your reality, which is really cool.
Hi, it's Mackenzie.
Hi.
To piggyback off Leah, it's the depth of the teachings is what I really got from ACI16. Like I did the meditation teacher training, I did ACI3, and then I tapped into ACI3 again in ACI16, and it's like I'm still learning and still learning and still learning. And so now I really see how it's a lifelong practice, because as you're learning and placing your mind on this wisdom, you're planting new karmas with the mind, so that when you come back to it at a later time, you have a totally different experience, which has been so cool to see happen just over a course of 2 years being here. So thank you. That's
really nice, Mackenzie. I believe you, after 25 years of trying to make this, initially trying to break it and then trying to live it, it really has no limit. Like our minds don't have a limit. And so you build relationships with concepts rather than consuming a book and throwing it out. And then I read this, and which used to be my approach. Let me grab wisdom as if I'm somehow going to eat it, like dulce de leche ice cream. And instead, you build a lifelong relationship with dulce de leche ice cream. You get to hang out with it all the time. Yeah, no hints dropped. Okay. So Priya, all yours.
Did you say Supriya or Sophia?
So Priya, and Sophia is there, and I didn't see her hand. Sophia?
I don't think there's a Sophia. I was going to say, Anne, I think you're unmuted now. You had your hand raised, right?
Right. I think for me, what it was is, you know, the whole karma idea and the whole idea of suffering and our past karma, and then being able to witness other people interact in my interactions with them, and the awareness that they're experiencing the same thing. So it helps in responding or just witnessing, you know, what's happening there. So it helps with, you know, being keenly aware of the reaction, you know, pausing and not allowing myself to react in anger or, you know, whatever I'm witnessing, just, you know, it's not only my suffering I'm witnessing, but I'm witnessing others' suffering, you know, so it helps in the relationship to, of just having compassion, understanding, forgiveness, and that we're all kind of connected in that way. So it kind of softens experiences for me. And yeah.
Thanks, Anne. You always bring us back to the heart. I love that. And we're going to keep going. Like you all, if you haven't figured out already, most of ACI is how can we dress up compassion and wisdom in different costumes and present them, you know, in a way that then you can engage with and have a relationship with, like Hector was saying. So that being said, we generally, if you come to ACI classes and joined in the start, we do a little, a very kind of Tibetan Buddhist ritual to really set our state of mind and be like, okay, what we're doing now, it's not the same as what I've been doing all day. Something different, and it's with the logic that the intention with which you do something is intimately related to the results that you're gonna get. And so we're not gonna do that this time in the formal way that we usually do, but hopefully this exercise, it's allowing you to connect with that same feeling. So if you bear with me a moment, I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Give me a moment. Can you all see that? Okay, great. I have some thumbs up. So we're gonna utilize our handy friends breakout rooms. And something might have just flashed in your mind, right? When you saw that, I don't know what your relationship with, you know, this, with going into little breakout rooms and sharing something is. I'll invite you for the next 20 minutes at least for this exercise, whatever degree of vulnerability you can bring, please bring it. And not just for yourself, but maybe in sharing something and really sharing why it is that you're here and what it is you're searching for, you could inspire someone else to bring their whole self, right? You know, we're all more than just, it's so hard to remember that we're not the people in these little boxes with the little names that pop up, but we really aren't. And so hopefully this activity allows you to actively push against that. So we're gonna ask for the next 20 minutes, we'll just be in random groups. Hopefully that's enough time for every single person in the group. We're just asking two things and then let the conversation go where it goes. But at least minimum, introduce yourself, your name and where you are. And then as openly as you can, what is it that you want out of this experience? You know, if you're newer, that might be easier to identify, but especially for those, you know, like Rachel was sharing that this is not your first time around the Dharma rodeo, like, can you connect with a fresh motivation? What do you want particularly out of these next 5 weeks, these next 10 classes? Because then the roller coaster just begins and we're going to get on. So let's deeply kind of seed our minds with that intention. And then please nominate one person who can sort of, you'll probably start finding threads in all the things you're sharing within your group. So nominate one person to synthesize, summarize everyone's shares, and actually share it back out with the group when we regather. Okay, so we'll see you on the flip side, 20 minutes.
How many groups are you putting in? 10 groups?
57. Yeah, 10 groups sounds good.
Okay. Enjoy. I'm going to pop into a few just to hear, but try and get to know each other, introduce yourselves, and come back with sort of a synthesis of why we're all here. What's this all about? Is life really real, or is there some doubt? Good. See you soon.
Bless you. One moment. Hector, if you're saying something, I can't hear you because you're muted.
Are you going to stay here and I pop around?
I was going to hop around as well.
Okay, it's just that if you leave here,
Yes.
if people get kicked out, we won't know that we have to send them back. And it
Oh,
happens all the time.
You can take turns. So you go hop around. When you come back, I'll go.
Great, I'll go do that now.
Great. And May, if you want to join your group, you're welcome to. I think you're in group 9. Hi, Jeremiah. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I had to take the dog to his,
All good.
house, so I just got home.
All right. Well, you can chill out here in the ether with me, or we just split into breakout rooms. That's why no one's here. So if you want, I can add you to a room, and we're just introducing ourselves in the rooms and sharing like, why are you here? ACI17, what are you looking to get out of this course?
Okay. You didn't even talk about any course content yet.
No, we really haven't. We really
Cool.
haven't. Just done intros and what 3 Joules is, what Dharma class is. Some people shared reflections from the last course, and then we just went into breakout. So you really didn't miss anything.
I mean, I don't have to go into the breakout room. It's fine. You're at 3 Joules.
I am. I mean, I'll add you to one if you'd like. I can add you to the one with Hannah. Sam.
Oh, really? Okay. Add me in. I'll
Okay.
go. I want to hear what people have to say.
Yeah, I'm looking to hear from you.
Okay.
In you go. I think you should have just gotten the invite. Did you get it? Are you frozen or am I?
Hey, Supriya. So I've been popping around to 3 or 4 groups. So they need a message from you on the breakout rooms chat broadcast. There's not too much room in there, so you got to be succinct. And in that, there's a chat, broadcast. You should tell them we're back at 8:20. So we've got 10 minutes left. Please get to know each other and be ready to present names. You should tell them names of people in your group plus main reasons. Yeah. Just so everyone's names get heard. And then I'm going to pause your recording. So this part, or you can pause your recording.
Yes, I didn't realize that. I should have done that.
And then I'm happy to sit here.
Okay, thank you. So maybe 20 minutes for sharing?
Yeah, we'll just go through the rooms and then just, you can manage that unless you want me to.
I can do that.
Great. Just don't ask Becky to share because she's going to have to write it all down.
No, I know. In her group, I think Maya is sharing.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Alana.
Alana, where? I didn't see her. Hi, Alana.
Hi, snuck in. Hi.
Nice to see you. Wow.
Hi. I miss you guys.
Yeah, I miss you too. Anna, your
That's
dad's
why I
there in the
came.
corner.
Hi, Becky Friedman.
And your mom or brother, I can't tell.
Mom.
I thought it was her brother.
Room.
That's so cool. Did I just call your brother your mom? Or your mom your brother? Sorry. I'm blind and old and haggard. I can't see anything. Welcome back, everyone. So cool to have popped into a few of your get-to-knows.
Oh, Christina, it's so nice to know that you're here. Hi. Okay, it looks like we have everyone back. So let's just start from 1 and work our way through. So yeah, group 1, how was the experience? It would be amazing if you can remember, or you wrote down everyone's name in your group, just so we can hear everyone's names. That would be great. And then anything, that sort of jumped out, maybe common themes around why are people here? What are you looking for?
We were group 1. We had Sachi and John Chris, Roy, Deirdre, Chauncey, Becky, and Diego and I. And some of the reasons that jumped out were ideas surrounding death and karma together, self-improvement, learning whilst healing from physical injuries, breaking through samsara, figuring out some more puzzle pieces, and feeling like those magic moments.
What about the magic?
Like feeling and having more of magic moments when studying.
Cool, that's so beautiful. I love the visual of the puzzle pieces. ACI, or Asian Classics Institute. Sorry, I didn't expand on that earlier. If you hadn't heard that before, that's when we say ACI, that's what I mean. And it's just the source of where everything that we're sharing is coming from. Because as Hector said, we're not making anything up. Unless he's talking about dulce de leche, he is then, that is not from the scripture of the Buddha yet. But it really does feel like putting a puzzle together. And somehow it's never complete, like you can keep adding to it, you can keep configuring them in new ways. And then my mind latched on to, we're definitely going to spend time on death and karma and what those things have to do with each other. So there's a whole course around that concept, Death and the Realms, ACI 8, and we're going to review that in this course. So we'll get into that. And yes to breaking through samsara. Thanks for sharing, Maya. Group 2.
That should be Sheila. I think Sheila was going to talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know what number I was. um, let's see. We had Leah, Hannibal, Anne, Julie, and Jane. And I think, I hope I got everybody. Yeah, it was really great. We have some people that have been around and in and out of the ACI courses previously, and a couple people that were brand new. And let's see, some of the things, let's see, Julie said her grandparents were Buddhist, but she wasn't raised Buddhist by her parents. So that was really interesting how the, you know, the teachings are connecting her, seem to be connecting her more with her, what she'd picked up from her grandmother. And so that's really nice, that connection there. And Hannibal, having a better understanding of karma, and that it's not so much about you, but all encompassing. So, you know, people reaching different levels of understanding. And I think Leah was talking about, you know, all those things, and culminating in that she wants to teach. And so that would be her motivation. And I was commenting on how, you know, over the years, I could see having, you know, many different reasons for studying. And for me, it would, like, now it's trying to understand a little more of the academic side of it, and trying to remember, you know, all the different books and teachings and where they came from. Let's see. And I think Jane, who's new, was saying that she felt that she, I think, came to some understandings on a personal level that are motivating her to continue. And I think she was enjoying sharing with her family. So it was pretty interesting group of people and reasons for moving forward.
Yeah, wow, I love all the uniqueness and the variety there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sheila, you're glowing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Love to hear from Breakout Room 3, Kelly, Tiffany, Carly, Christina.
Yes, I'm representing group 3. I think you got all the names except Alana and Maria. We were hailing, by the way, from all the way of Montana, Massachusetts, and New York. And fun to hear how everyone heard about 3 Jewels. So let's see, range of interests and reasons. We had a few people who are yoga practitioners, and yoga has served as their entree into being more interested in learning about Buddhism and then arriving at class tonight. People looking to improve our abilities to be non-judgmental and to have compassion and acceptance. Looking for connection with people, trying to be better about being intentional with our actions on our day-to-day and understanding why we do things, and looking for how to apply these practices in terms of finding more joy in our lives. Hope I accurately represented everyone.
Dulce de leche is the joy part.
Oh, I'll go then.
That was easy.
I have been working on 2 things of Ben and Jerry's in 2 days, like 1 a day or so, you know.
Thanks, Kelly. Okay, halfway through Breakout Room 5, Stephen was in that group. I won't say everyone's name so that one of you can report back.
Yeah, I can talk. Oh, 4. She said 5.
No, that's group 5.
Okay, you missed group 4.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go back for group 4, I promise.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. I'll be representing group 4. So I had Eden, Tom, George, and Shaban in my group. And we were coming in from all over the place. Eden's in San Antonio, Texas. Tom is tuning in from Israel. It's like past 3 a.m. there right now. So that's some serious dedication. And yeah, we all are incredibly curious about the death in the realms aspect of the ACI 17, and dealing with grief and loss. Some of us are already studying the Dharma, and Tom in particular has been studying ACI in Israel, but this is their first time to the Three Jewels, and has a lama that is a student of Geshe Michael Roach. So that's how they're involved with this Three Jewels. And yeah, we all have like a background in yoga and some meditation, but a lot of the other people in my group are fairly new to Three Jewels. So looking for a sense of community, how to set boundaries and more compassion for ourselves.
Thanks, Chrissy. I'm sorry I skipped over your all's group. Thanks for chiming in and sharing that.
I'll go. We had Roxana, Lena, Ming, Daniela, and Steven, and myself, and Santi and Rachel like hopped in right before the breakout room ended. And some of the things we spoke about for reasons why we're here is like wanting spiritual and personal development, you know, really craving community and deeper understanding for self and like this understanding of reality of what that is. And we all agree that we all got a taste of Dharma and we just want more. And for, you know, Stephen especially, and Santi and Rachel who have been studying this, they want lightness in practice and rediscovering, you know, the teachings in a new way and just learning more. So I thought that was really beautiful.
I love it. Karuna, room 6, or whoever your representative is.
I'm so sorry, it's me. My name is Zoe. I was in group 6. I knew that. Who are the other people in the group? It was Cutie Karuna. We had Yisel. I hope I'm saying that right. And Lord, forgive me if I did not. Her, and the third person, or the fourth person, is Ninon. I also don't know if I'm saying that right. Deeply sorry. Yisel is in Brooklyn, I think. Karuna is in Denver, just like my mom, who is also in this class. Her name is Anne. And then Ninon is in, I'm so sorry, I think I know she's in France somewhere, I just don't know where, but it's 2:30 a.m. So shout out to her for being here.
Canada.
Okay.
The other French part.
What? We're gonna pretend I knew that. Moving on. The things that we talked about, we had a good time. As a collective, we wanted to understand suffering better. That was definitely one person in particular's number one thing, motivation for being here. Softening the relationship with the mind. I believe it was Isel who has been studying anthropology, and so these like critical theories and like new perspective really keep her coming back for more. And my contribution was that I've been teaching meditation on Instagram, and I'm not teaching the meditations from the class, but I am sort of integrating some of the ideas from it with like a more basic approachable meditation. So it's been good for me to I have to understand the concepts more to be able to even understand them enough to teach them in a little way. So it's been a great motivator to help me learn this stuff and have it be more embedded in my mind. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Where are we at? Oh, we're at Gabe's group. Room 7.
Yeah, Danielle is going to speak for us.
I'm speaking for our group. We had an amazing group. We had Gabriel, Kamaya, Anna, MC, and Tala. And we're from all over the country and the world. And a number of us have been studying with Three Jewels 10 plus years, some newer students that are doing meditation teacher training. And we've collectively agreed that we're all here because, one, we're obsessed with Hector, wildly in love with him, and the Dharma. And anytime we have the opportunity to hear the Dharma through Hector is the greatest gift in the world. So we came to the conclusion that we're really here for the Three Jewels. In all of its, you know, we're here for the Buddha, we're here for the Sangha, and we're here for the Dharma. And then also we're here for refuge, like the refuge found in the Three Jewels and the gift of being in this community. And yeah, how it just brings us all together. And so we're here with open hearts and open mind to absorb everything. And one thing I wanted to share that Gabriel said, he shared that, you know, the Dharma, it's like poetry. It's something that you can return to again and again and again, and you're always going to get something new out of it. And I really like that analogy, so I wanted to share that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet, Danielle. Thank you and your team. Just keep the Dulce de Leche coming. It's the only way I can teach. Yeah. Stunning things.
The Beinecke family's room 9. Or wait, I think I skipped again. Sorry.
You skipped 8. It's okay.
Mackenzie, I'm sorry.
I kind of wanted to be skipped because I don't know how to speak after Danielle just said all of that so beautifully. But we had a really beautiful group. We had Alyssa from Toronto in Canada, Kia, who's in St. Lucia in the Caribbean. Kia's also doing the meditation teacher training. And then lovely Elizabeth, who's in Texas. And then Michaela, who's in New York City, but currently living with her parents in her childhood bedroom. And that's me too, likewise. But so we had a range of interests in the class, from looking to deepen the practice of Buddhism and meditation, looking for support and guidance in meditation, a lot of talk about lineage and how to keep it preserved. And Elizabeth spoke about how she's on the track for ACI certification to become a teacher. So that's her motivation for being here, partly mine as well. And how do you listen to these classes with the intention to preserve this lineage for many, many more years? We also love Hector, and Michaela was particularly drawn in by the beautiful cafe in New York that we miss dearly and can't wait for it to open back up again. But yeah, that was us.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Okay, I'm gonna speak for group 9. We also had Jeremy, Hannah, her mom and her dad, Adina and May, and we mostly East Coast. I think I was the only West Coaster in the group, and we had a few like yoga backgrounds. Started in yoga and somehow like found my way into a more still version of the practice. And what I thought was really interesting, what we kind of like universally had in common was something kind of unexpectedly out of the blue just like brought me to meditation or a Buddhist class, or like I knew someone who had a really interesting thing to say about Buddhism, and now I'm really curious. And whether this was they're new to the Three Jewels and studying the Dharma, or have been studying for a bit, maybe are on the accreditation track. There's just this curiosity about how to continue to make this stuff work in day-to-day life. Can I hear something different every time? I heard something that brought me here initially, and I keep hearing things and I keep hearing things, and I'm still curious. In a nutshell.
Thanks, Sam. And finally, our 10th room.
That would be us. We're all mostly local. It was Claudia out of New York, myself out of New York, Sarah out of Brooklyn, Anthony out of New Jersey. Our group was split almost half, well, not almost, our group was split half and half in terms of newbies and people who've been practicing for a number of years. And what we'd like to take out of this actually follow suit. We have one, which was see the world and the people that you know in a different way. This was rooted out of, correct me if I'm wrong, rooted out of already being immersed in Dharma for a while and getting something new or a little bit different of a view every single time, and seeing and being able to break out of these sort of habituations that you either consciously or haven't consciously made. And then the flip side of that is to actually build these kinds of habits and to cultivate these kinds of habits. And that was someone who's just pretty new to ACI in general and to all these concepts that we're discussing in general. We also had to develop the practice deeper and to support the new people that come in is both encouraging and fun, and also keeps the community alive and the practice going. And then also to the last thing I guess is to break down these practices into a replicable way so that the exercises in the practice and the motions become muscles that understand how to just do it in time and do it on their own, and then to understand the concepts sort of mentally to be able to replicate those at some point in the future, either by explanation or by passing the knowledge on, so on and so forth. I think I got it all.
That is so cool, Kay. Like everything your group said and everyone else, that's so good. Because it's so easy to get stuck in, oh, I'm learning Buddhism, and then it becomes this thing, this ism. But what will actually transform everything is understanding it's just I'm practicing until it becomes muscle memory. I'm practicing a way to engage with my reality and the source of it, my mind, mostly. And so meditation, essential. Memory and sort of habituation, practicing a way of responding to the world changes your mind. And all of these teachings, all of the stuff we learn here, all the stuff the Buddha taught is to practice, so then your reality changes. So I love that emphasis on practice from your group and everyone else's, right? To internalize it, to have a foundation, to learn it, and then to become it. And then, I would add to all of that, resist the urge to make it a thing, right? Like, nothing wrong with churches, but don't make it a church. Don't make it I am a Buddhist, I am the thing, because it's a nice bypassing, to do that. It's like, oh, I'm a good Buddhist, and then you can still be normal. And then a Buddhist is literally a wake-upist, someone that is practicing a way of engaging with their own reality. And these are all techniques taught by other people that have done that. And then they get this magic appear. And I can't remember the group that said, I want more magic moments. And you cause them through practice. You cause them through understanding. You cause them through generosity, kindness, and all the other stuff we do. So I love that. That was such a good summary, and everyone's reasons for being here. I think if you engage, if you bring your part of the equation, you'll get that and more, as many of you that have been around for a while know you'll get more. Sorry, I just went onto that. Supriya, all yours.
No, it's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you all for sharing. I loved also how many times that desire for community came up, and know that every class, we're going to give you that opportunity to be in seemingly random groups, you know, but if it's true that the world is unspooling from our minds, then are they really random? Those people that you ended up in a room with, connecting, using words, but you're going to have that chance every Tuesday and Thursday around different prompts. And we hope that it's a, you know, at least somewhat of a substitute for those in-person interactions we used to be able to have. But I think the bridge of wisdom and compassion can sort of transcend the screen. And so I hope you can feel that sense of community really come to life that way. And so for the rest of tonight, I'm going to share my screen again. We have just a little bit of housekeeping to go through to hopefully make the rest of, oh no, let me do that again. To make the rest of the course go smoothly. The chat function is still disabled, but if you have any, you know, burning question that comes up as we go through this, please make that known. Great, can you see this? Little spinning orbs, a little bit of housekeeping. Okay, great. So if you hadn't figured out yet, we're in ACI17, or Asian Classics Institute Course 17 of 18 in total. Right? And so this is part 2 of 3 massive like survey or review courses. And so, I mean, I'm biased because this was my entry into Dharma 3 Jewels, but I think it's the perfect entry point into these ideas. If you're at all interested, your appetite's piqued, you're gonna get served like fire hose Dharma here. So it's going to feel like a lot. It probably will bring up questions where you're like, wait, no, that was too fast. Wait, no, I wanna go deeper. And what I'll say is just let it come, let it wash over you. The things that stick, let them stick. Try to put them into practice or talk to people about them. What that will do is create the causes to start hearing those secret messages, those magic moments that you all were mentioning. So it is going to feel fast and intense. It's covering a lot of material. So that's actually what we're going to start with, just so you have a sense of what's coming. So our course structure for ACI 17, it's actually a review of 5 other courses. So imagine that what we're doing in 10 weeks, you could spend 10 weeks just on the Diamond Cutter Sutra, for example. That's ACI 6 or course 6. And we're going to be doing that in 2 classes. So what it's doing is taking like the cream on top of the, you know, churning the cream from that course and being like, okay, if the essence of the essence, like Hector says, if there's just, you know, a couple things you can take away from that set of material, here's what they are. So I'm just going to touch upon these things to sort of whet your appetite, and I promise we're going to go into more detail as the course unfolds. But we're going to start off on Thursday. I think it's a very auspicious way to start with the Diamond Cutter Sutra. So I'm very grateful that Hector will be there to help decode that text, because it really feels like it's written in code, you know, and I've studied it a few times, and each time I realize like, wow, every word in that text is like pregnant with meaning, you know, and the way that he's able to explain it, I'm maybe stretching this metaphor, but he's like, he really will give birth to like these meanings that you wouldn't even know, like, oh wow, that word had 5 different connotations, and it you know, corresponds to all these different ideas that can really make this come to life. So this is different from, you know, pithy Instagram spiritual quotes that make you feel good. This is that one text that you can come back to, and it will keep revealing itself based on the mind that's rising to meet it, right? Based on the way you can look at the words between the words, hear the words between the words. And really the essence of the Diamond Cutter Sutra, it's the E word, not enlightenment, but emptiness, you know, completely inextricable with this idea of enlightenment. But it really is going to get into that concept. So for those of you who had questions about, you know, the emptiness thing or the emptiness versus nothingness sort of debate, you'll absolutely get to wrap your mind around that in Diamond Cutter. So that's going to be Thursday and the following Tuesday. So that's up first. Then we're going to move into the promises of a bodhisattva or bodhisattva vows. I don't know if I hadn't really heard of the word bodhisattva before encountering Dharma through 3 Jewels. And so I loved how it sort of gave me something that, since studying that, I realized how many ways the word bodhisattva is tossed around, right? Like someone who holds the door open for people, oh, they must be a bodhisattva. Which, you know, it's not that they couldn't be, but I love it inspires me to know that someone who's a bodhisattva is someone who's taken personal responsibility for the way they show up for their life, for the way they treat other people, and the relationship they have with their mind. And this whole course, it's basically getting into, you know, maybe you didn't even realize you could be that. You know, that's how I thought when I found this. I realized, oh, wow, I don't have to just live my life in the bubble of me. Like there is something more to it. And actually, when I first took this course and we entered into that part of, you know, the promises of a bodhisattva part, we had just come back, a couple of students from 3 Jewels from a love retreat in Nicaragua. So a completely silent, like 5 or 6 day retreat where we were doing our love meditation multiple times a day. And it was amazing. I mean, for those of you who practice that meditation, we were essentially like bathing ourselves in vibrant blue light, which represents the kindness in our hearts and this wish that everyone around us be in a state of rapture and joy and love. And the thing that stuck with me is not even just the preciousness of the retreat, but how the second I walked into the airport after retreat ended, it sort of just fell apart. Like all that love I was practicing in retreat at the airport, I was like, wait, no, these people annoy me. Like, I'm not feeling that, you know, it was a really stark reminder that, wow, that I can touch that state of mind, but to abide in it, right? Like Hector was saying, that's a different game altogether. So then to decide to do that, to even promise to do that, what a powerful way to live a life. So we'll get into all of that in the Promises of a Bodhisattva, or ACI 7. So here you can see the courses that they correspond to. Then next up, it was exciting to hear some of you are particularly interested in the concepts within Death in the Realms. And it's a heavy course. It's a little trippy as well. But I think especially right now, I've been, you know, reflecting a lot. I feel like the whole planet's been launched into a death meditation, right? Considering what if it's going to be me next? Who knows when it will be? And that, according to the Buddhist perspective, is actually a very conducive way to spend. It actually brightens your mind and it allows you to engage with your life fiercely. And so we'll talk about that. What is a death meditation and what's a realm? You know, just to give you a little teaser of that. And I have to remind myself of this multiple times a day, that the world that I'm experiencing, the universe I'm experiencing, is still just like a tiny Supriya-esque slice of that universe, right? Like if I didn't have these particular senses, I could see whole different spectrums of light. I could hear whole different spectrums of sound. So why is it that I'm locked into my particular view of the universe, and why do I keep making the mistake of thinking that's all there is? So this course, if you're interested in learning about just not just the realm you're in, right? It's that, oh, this is water kind of feeling, like you're gonna get that. And also, what are all the other realms that exist and how would one get there? You know, it's not on an airplane. I'll just give you that, but we'll get into that in that course. So that's Death in the Realms.
It could be by an airplane, yeah.
Sorry?
It could be as a result of being on an airplane that you could get there by mistake.
It's true. It's true. It's a really sweet course. And then so that will take us into ACI 9, or Ethical Codes, Buddhist Morality. So everything within this course is coming from the Buddha's teachings called the Vinaya. So this one I think will be interesting, especially for sort of our Western minds, because maybe when you hear the words vow, morality, ethics, it feels like, you know, chains are like appearing of like these things that you have to restrict yourself from doing, right? Like I'm not allowed to do those things anymore. And I hope that by the time we review that course, you're actually invited to see them as something that they're freeing you, like it's wings, or it's like an instruction manual, right? Where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna follow these steps. I might not fully understand how all the steps fit together, but you know, it's a manual. It's supposed to result in something. And I'm not the only one that's moved my mind through that instruction manual. So ethical codes, and the other thing I think about here, so many of you mentioned yoga as your entry point, right, into the Dharma, and you can really think of ethics as the yoga of the mind. What postures are you putting your mind into all day long, and why? And how aware of that are you? Right, and it's going to feel contrived at first, just like learning how to do yoga asana or learning how to dance. And then it will become muscle memory. Like someone who was talking about muscle memory, that joy will come there where it's not hard to be ethical. It's actually freeing. Because it's not about being good, it's about being free. That's the whole game. So it's a really sweet course that I'll be reviewing ACI9. And then that will take us into, sorry, there's a lot of lists, but just get used to it now. That's sort of a feature of this lineage and our brand of Buddhism. And so our final course that we're reviewing is part 1 of 3 courses, actually. And it's this incredible text called the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, or the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And gosh, I don't even feel like I know how to describe it. I might phone a friend. Hector, can you, I just don't even know how to do it justice. It's such a beautiful text, and yeah.
It's this stunning piece of work that once you start diving into Buddhist thought and all these things we've just covered, karma and emptiness, ethics and all this other stuff, your mind gets so many complex ideas that you're searching for just what's the foundation, and it's this mini instruction manual on 6 key things that if you keep them in your mind, that's all you need to transform your world and your mind to bliss and to joy, and to have the power to destroy the very thing that hurts you, that's within you, the misunderstanding. So it goes through this thing called the 6 perfections or paramitas. So for those of you that were doing the teacher training, the meditation teacher training, when Lodro came in to give a talk, he was talking about the 6 paramitas. This is like a detailed manual on how to turn those 6 perfections on in your mind. And that's all you need, really. That's all you need to really accelerate your experience or the results of Buddhism. And it's stunning. You will fall in love with it if you make it that far.
Yeah, I really hope you all do, but if you can't, then at least join for Diamond Cutter. That's what I would say. You know, if nothing else, come back on Thursday. That, like, engaging with that material could put something into motion that who knows the results of that. So that's what I would say. Just at least come back on Thursday. And then on Thursday, I'll say, please just come back on Tuesday. But we'll get to that. Okay, just a couple more housekeeping items. So that was the overall course structure, just to give you a little preview of what to expect in each class. So every time we gather, Tuesday and Thursday evenings, the Zoom link will always be the same. So if you're like me and have a note of all your Zoom links for easy access, because you're kind of type A, then you can copy paste the link that you got today, and it will always be that. And so when we gather for class, there will always be an element of formal teachings. And I'd say let your mind engage with that. You know, when I first encountered Dharma and I saw everyone holding the mudras and doing the chanting and the bowing to the teacher and all, it was weird, but another part of my mind was just fascinated, because I was like, why are they doing all this stuff? Especially in a class which was asking them to think about the why behind everything, right? It was saying everything you do, say, and think has some sort of repercussion. So I was like, whoa, there must be something behind this apparent ritual, this apparent dogma that people are actually connecting with. And that was really attractive to me, and continues to keep me coming back. So there will always be an element of formal teachings. We will always be very clear where we're getting the teachings from, like the source material or the teacher to student link and lineage that these things came from. So please know that that's there. And then there's so much more detail I'm going to share with you with readings and class notes so that you can kind of dive in there, because we're going to give you those formal teachings as much as we can. But I think what we can do even better, it's actually when Elizabeth, in your group, when that idea of lineage came up, you know, and thinking about what really makes a lineage. Is it just a set of information that's passed on, right? And if that's the case, then how does it withstand the sort of like telephone effect, right? You know, that game of telephone where things will just, who knows what'll happen after it's like in the 100th link of being passed on. So what's so much more reliable are actually the realizations or the insights or the way your heart and mind transform. Can that be done in a reliable way? Can you have a reliable experience of what reality really is? And when that's passed down, that's a lineage. That's how lineages are formed. And so I think that will come when we actually talk about this stuff, wrestle with it. That brings us to the breakout room discussions, which I mentioned. They're going to happen every class. To get used to it, I'm a little bit allergic to it, actually. So like I really have to work to show up. And so I'll challenge you, like if you're the kind of person who just likes to talk a lot, maybe you hold back a little bit. Or maybe if you're someone who tends to stay on the sidelines in situations like that, play with a different identity in those rooms. It's going to be a different group every time, and you really have a chance to hear yourself putting these ideas into words, which I know can feel disorienting, but it can also be really liberating. And then finally, this is something a former boss of mine taught me, you know, where I would make these deliverables for work, like these presentations, and she'd be like, Supriya, what's the so what of this slide? You know, so what? Why are you showing me this? What's the takeaway? And so that sort of stuck with me, and we promise to try to give you that each class as well. You know, because it's really not just about, oh, okay, did we get all the definitions? Did we make it through all the homework questions? But it's the so what? What am I going to do with this stuff from Tuesday to Thursday, and then Thursday to the next Tuesday? So we'll ask you that you keep us accountable, right? To how do I put this stuff into practice? That's that last part. And then, you know, then there is kind of what we ask of you, right? To make this not your average Zoom call. I know it's not your only Zoom call on your calendars. It's one of many, but how can this one be different, right? Like I was just sharing with someone here, for me, Dharma class felt like an escape, maybe escape from reality is the wrong word, but my impulse to like be, you know, that scrolling impulse of like, give me the next thing. It kind of went away in Dharma class because I was so mesmerized. Like I really was entering this other world of things I had never heard before, you know, and I had a great education. Like they don't teach this stuff in Ivy League education. They don't teach you how to think about thinking, right? They just teach you what to think about. So whatever you need to do to make that experience special for you, you know, if it's a specific space in your home, do that. You all might remember last course, I was like always the one giggling because I was always with someone else during Dharma class, but that was intentional because I know if I'm alone, I'll have Dharma class streaming and then I'll be sitting in the corner doing my emails. And that's not the motivation that's going to make any of this stuff come to life for me. So it's up to you, you know, maybe it's, I don't look at my phone for Dharma class, or it's something that you do that gets you to show up fully. It's not that long. But at the same time, it's 2 hours of your time and attention, which are a very precious currency, right? Like if it's true that your mind moves 65 times in 1 second, you have 120 minutes here. Like, what are you doing with that? So it's up to you to make that sort of powerful. And then last piece of housekeeping, I promise. If you aren't yet familiar with Thinkific, it's a platform that we use to sort of organize this course, this online course. And so you're going to get a registration link. It actually might not be tomorrow morning. It might be Thursday morning when we get the course fully set up. But basically know that it's like this online portal that you can enter, and you'll find everything associated with this course there. So you will find the slides every week. We'll upload them there. readings, and class notes. Those are really detailed. If you're interested in the Tibetan and the Sanskrit side of things, or just more detailed, you're gonna find them there. You will also find homeworks, quizzes, and final exam. So some of you I know are on track for certification or intend to do this for certification, which means that you are completing homeworks, quizzes. Each class also has an associated meditation, which is listed in the homework. I heard someone mention that, and the final exam. So that's there for you if you'd like to engage that way. Oh yeah, class recordings as well. Stephen just reminded me, those are gonna be there. So if you miss a class, you can catch up. But what I will say about the work, like about the homeworks, quizzes, final stuff, just like spoiler alert, it took me a little while to recognize this after being like a perfectionist student my whole life, that getting 100% on your ACI homeworks and quizzes does not necessarily mean you achieve enlightenment. You know, I was hoping it would be that simple, and it's not, but that doesn't mean there's a really powerful value to actually doing that work in that way. You know, I've heard like so many people already tonight have shared that you can hear something new every time you engage with this material. And so it's a chance to do that and just test yourself. How much did I retain? Or could I explain what I just learned in Dharma class to my baby cousin or toddler cousin maybe, right? Like can it not be this heady intellectual thing? To play with that, also we're giving you the answer key. So it's not a stressful thing. This is important and it's different from last course. So know that we are in the process of grading your materials if you submitted them for the last course. So we've received those. But what we will ask for this course, when you upload your homeworks or quizzes or final, that you actually upload them with a grade inputted. So you are self-grading your work. You have the answer key. You can grade for correctness or completeness or just gut check with yourself. Like really, how much of this class did I understand and retain? Course certification is given to you regardless. It doesn't matter what you score. It's just you need to just do all the work. And then finally, Sarah, where are you? Maybe wave or smile really big. There she is. For those of you who don't know, the incredible Sarah Blackburn. She is a dear friend and teacher and just all around really special being, and she's holding space for specifically this community. So this is not something that's on the public 3 Jewels schedule. It's a completely private meditation just for those enrolled in this course. And I mentioned the associated meditations with each class. She's actually going to provide her expert guidance in moving your minds through those. So Sarah studied all 18 courses, many of them multiple times, and taught these specific meditations multiple times as well. So I really urge you to join on Monday nights. I think that will be a way to, you can ask questions, there'll be that sense of community, and you'll get your meditations done if you're on that certification track. So anything I'm missing there in terms of announcements, Hector?
No, I think this is perfect. It's just support material, homeworks and quizzes. If you're going to go through it and you're going to commit, it's just a little bit extra to do this work, and you get this kind of depth and certainty. You get to review the content through the homework and quiz, and you won't return to this stuff for a long, long time. So I highly recommend it. If you can, just 5 weeks of extra discipline really will shift something. I never listened when people told me to do that early on, so I had to do all that like 10 years later. So I highly recommend that if you have an inkling that you're enjoying what this is doing to your mind, just go ahead, and there's plenty of people doing it with you. It sounds like a lot, but it's not really. It's regurgitating what we cover in a class on paper and checking the answer keys, and so you get 3 different access points to the same information, and it's way more likely to impact something in your mind.
And that does remind me, I want to thank Julia in advance for assisting with a lot of that back end. So tracking your assignments for those who are submitting things and helping out with some grade inputting. So really appreciate her offer to help. And if anyone else is interested in doing that, you know, you can't get enough with ACI stuff, you want to go deeper you want to read other people's kind of interpretations or answers to these things, it's a beautiful practice. So just reach out if you're interested in helping there and volunteering that way. And then I'll give it back to you, Hector.
Awesome. If you just heard, I'm in New York, my heater just kicked in and it's making sound. I don't know if you can hear a big sound behind me, so I apologize if you hear it. Just one thing, we'll get an early mark, we'll get some Q&A in just a second, but if you take nothing else away, there's this key to all of this learning. To every single thing you learn is called Buddhism. There's this key, and it's got two sides. One's karma, one's emptiness. Karma is not what you think it is. Karma is the movement of the mind, happens 65 times a millisecond. So every time your mind shifts, it's a karma, and either you're experiencing, seeing, hearing, sensing something, and your mind is interpreting it, it's a karma. And that karma doesn't come out of nowhere. It's caused, like every other course-changing thing in the world. Everything you think, say, and do plants certain karmas. Those seeds, those potentials in our minds, the way we frame and experience the world, comes from everything we've ever done and said and thought towards others in our world. And that connection between karma and emptiness, emptiness is the reality, the capital R reality, that, like Supriya said, I'm only seeing a sliver of what reality is, a tiny spectrum of light, a tiny spectrum of sound, a tiny spectrum that is this cage that is my human existence. And capital R reality is infinitely bigger than that. And our minds can access that reality, meaning things don't have the nature that we experience. They are empty of having that nature only. They are that for us, but they're not that by themselves. And that understanding of emptiness, which we'll return to over and over and over, and it's the essence of the Dhammapada Sutra. If you obsess about anything in this course, obsess about your understanding of karma and emptiness and how they come together. You're going to have to understand emptiness, you're going to have to understand karma, you have to understand emptiness, you have to understand karma, and you'll go through levels of frustration. I don't understand it. Oh my God, I think I got it. And then something will happen. You're like, I didn't get it at all. My God, it's way bigger than I thought. You know, if you're engaging with karma and emptiness that way, it is the magic key that brings every single experience you have ever wanted and explains every single experience you have ever had. And it gives you back the power that you didn't know you had, the power to transform every single thing that comes from you, comes from our behavior. And so what I love about the sequence of this next 5 weeks is that we start with emptiness, the blank screen, the essence that is infinite potential in every single thing we experience, emptiness. That emptiness is that every single thing you experience, this very next moment is pregnant with possibility if we just knew what karma, what thing, what seed we needed to plant to experience it that way. So if you can obsess about anything about these next things, it's karma and emptiness, karma and emptiness. No, that's the key. And the thing that I've been thinking about recently is this thing that we all believe a certain thing, right? You believe the world to be a certain way. You're all believers. You have faith. Whether you like it or not, you do. You're all believers, faith. Hallelujah, I'll be a preacher. Right? Except you have faith in thinking that things have their nature. You all operate with the faith that the aspirin will cure your headache. You all have faith that the right boyfriend will make you happy. You have faith, you believe that if I get the right job, I'll be happy, that I'll get the right career. You believe it, and that's why you move. And except when you understand karma and emptiness, you will come to understand rather than believe. You understand that the reality or experience comes only from you, from everything. It's a perfect, amplified reflection of everything you've got in your mind, whether you remember putting it there or not. It can't be any other way. When you understand that, then your beliefs break apart and you behave in a different way. And that new behavior changes everything. And so this karma and emptiness is like this powerful antidote to every suffering you could ever experience or have ever experienced. And it takes time. It takes time to dose your mind with this karma and emptiness elixir. But if you understand through logic and reasoning, through this thinking through it, through analyzing how your mind experiences reality, then you have freedom, or at least the access to freedom. So I challenge you to rethink belief and understanding. You believe someone else's fault is, someone else is the cause of your problems, and you're wrong. Your beliefs are wrong. Yeah. You will come to understand that you're the reason for your problems and you can change it. You can actually change it. Your mind doesn't have to do what it does. So that's all I want to say about every single class, that if you're lost, if you're like, why are they covering this, past, future lives, death and the realms, why all these stories? If you understand karma and emptiness, everything will fit into place. If not, if you're thinking things have some nature, that Buddhism will somehow fix me, you're missing the point. Yeah. But it's a nice dulce de leche interest. Like, oh, there's some sweetness there. It's good that you can go there. That's all I really wanted to say. I'm excited that this group of people are getting together to investigate the thing we should be investigating more than anything else. Like, it's lovely to see familiar faces. It was awesome to hear your reasons for engaging. And don't be complacent. Don't let your beliefs cloud the possibility that in 5 weeks you could touch something, you can experience something that's way beyond what you thought you were in for. And that power is yours. And so that's my last thing. Yes, see you next Thursday. Is there any logistical questions? Anything we missed? Anything you wanted to know? Anyone wants to share? You can open the chat maybe if you want to give them that.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Hi, I have a question. I'm just wondering what time the Monday meditation class is going to be.
Great question.
I couldn't hear it. Can you repeat it?
What time the Monday meditation class is going to be?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but it's 7:30 to 8:15, right?
That's it. That's correct.
7:30 to 8:15. You will get, so you'll get a weekly summary email from me, probably on Friday every week. That's sort of just bringing you back to what we did Tuesday and Thursday, and giving you all this information again and again, so you can easily get back to it. And I'll always put the link for the Monday night meditations there. And again, just like this course, it's always the same Zoom link. So you could enter, you could keep it, save it for yourself, put it into a personal calendar invite, whatever you need to do. The Monday night sessions are not recorded, Becky. These Tuesday and Thursday will be, but Mondays will not be.
Good question from George about Thanksgiving. Hey, George. Hey, George, I didn't see you there. Hi.
Hi there.
We do intend to have class that day, right, Hector?
Yeah, that's what I was just
On
curious.
Thanksgiving Day?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm intending to be here. Yeah, so maybe it's recorded for you all, or if you can't travel, let's Thanksgiving together. I think it's a weird thing, but yeah.
Yeah, we will be here. And for those asking about, I think when someone said, are the recordings for part 1, as in ACI17 with Hector and Javier that just happened, those recordings do exist. You can access them through the Thinkific portal for ACI16. And so maybe, Javier, could you maybe put your email in the chat? And so for anyone who needs to get access to that, they can reach out to you. Another question about access to course material on Thinkific. How long? I think forever. Right? Yeah, Stephen's confirming that for me. Yeah, it'll always be there. And that's the case.
Hits.
Sorry?
Until impermanence hits.
Yeah, as long as you have the karma to see it there, it'll be there. And that's exactly what I was getting to, Soban, with your question. There's not a formal deadline for the homeworks and exams. So until the day that we all get enlightened, you're absolutely open and encouraged to submit those. And as I said probably will like confer certificates at the end of ACI 18 for all of 16, 17, and 18. So thank you for those. We're seeing that you're submitting everything that you are for 16. So know that someone is taking those and marking them. Any other questions? Okay, Monday night meditations. Danielle Harris, will check on the schedule. Someone was saying that the original class schedule says that we don't have class the week of Thanksgiving. So we'll check on that and report back on Thursday with some confirmation. Someone's asked, okay, if there's class notes for course 17, I think there should be.
All that will be uploaded to Thinkific, and we can reply to that on Thursday.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
3 Joules is pretty new to me. I just discovered you guys last month, and actually maybe even last month. And so ACI is also new, and I didn't really understand how are they connected.
I can answer that. So I'm Australian. I moved to New York in the 90s, early 90s, and I bumped into this place called 3 Joules. It was opening night. It was 1996 or something. And in the basement of 3 Joules, the first American geshe, the first person that graduated from a Tibetan monastery in 600 years that wasn't Tibetan, was Geshe Michael Roach. And he was translating that 20-year monastic curriculum into English for the very first time ever in the history of Buddhism, of Tibetan Buddhism. And that was being done in the basement of 3 Joules, which was a nun had opened as a tea house bookstore. Yeah. So she had opened as come take a cup of tea and read some Buddhist books. And that course, these courses right now that we're studying, we're being translating like meticulously from Indian commentaries, from the words of the Buddha sutras to Indian commentaries and Tibetan commentaries, and placed into a Western style learning method. Instead of like in a Tibetan monastery, you'd have to memorize the entire text before you could come to a teacher, and the teacher would explain each line. And so at 3 Joules, this is when we used to have cassette tapes. We would record these lectures on cassette tapes, and then someone would write notes, and then we'd transcribe them, and there'd be binders made that were like this thick of page 1, page 2, yeah, like that. See, Elizabeth's got some of them over there. Elizabeth, you're showing her age. Yeah. And so, Carly, that's how they're related. And then the Asian Classics Institute is a non-profit that gathers this information and offers these courses, 18 of these open teachings. And so they come from another non-profit called Asian Legacy Library now. It's called ACIP. And that non-profit goes out across the world searching for physical copies of sutras and commentaries on Buddhism that were distributed around the world because they were all bombed in Tibet in the 50s. And so that becomes like, I guess, the peak of the mountain. The snow in the mountain is all these ancient texts that this Asian Classics Institute is finding. ACI is putting them into Western style learning curriculum with certificates and the rest. And because it began at 3 Joules, it's no longer at 3 Joules. We've been offering those courses since its inception in the 90s. And it really is the foundation of every yoga class, every meditation class, every workshop we teach. At the essence, we draw from the Asian Classics Institute the commentaries from Tsongkhapa in the 1400s, from Shantideva in the 700s, from a whole bunch of other Buddhist texts. It's exactly the same thing the Dalai Lama would be learning, except in English. Yeah. I hope that helped, Carly. Yeah, cool. I think that's it from me. Any other questions? Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Superior. Supriya, not Supira. Hi, Supira. from Kay. Thank you all. It's so lovely to see your lovely faces. So nice to have many Danielles. Tom, what time is it there in Israel?
Oh yeah, thanks for everyone who's in the middle of their nights.
Yeah, that's 4:30 now.
4:30. Great.
Yeah.
That's
Went to
motivation.
sleep a bit.
Congrats. Thank you for joining. And thanks anyone on the
Thank
web.
you.
Blessings to you all. And next week, well, this week, I'll see you on Thursday, right? Good night, everyone.
Nice.
Bye. Thanks for joining.
Lots of love.
Thanks, Bye Nikki family on the couch. Nice to see you. So cool. Oh, and brother joined too. Cool. Thanks, Roxanne. Roxana, sorry. Hey, Anthony, thanks for joining. Lena and Ming, blessings. Hi, Julia. Bye. Thank you. May, thanks for joining. Danielle, Kia, so many nice faces. Oh my God, Chloe's here, and Tala. Hi, so nice to see you all. Thanks. What did we call Jean-Paul, right? Jean-Paul, Jean-Paul and Saji, the Pope. Yeah.
Jean-Paul. Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Oh, Gaultier. Yeah, that's a different Jean. That's a better Jean-Paul. Nice to. Bye, Chrissy. Bye, Kimaya. Go to bed.
Thank you, Supriya.
Thank you. I'm gonna force Irish exit you all. Love you. See you.
Thank you, Soup.
Bye.
Love you.
Wilson.
Priya. Bye, Hector. Wonderful to see you.
Likewise. Lots of love. Keep Hannah safe.
Oh, we are. Trust me. She's keeping us safe.
Good, of course she is. Lots of love.